Couple corrections.
I'm sure.
So, Fall River is not a fishing town, it's a mill town. You're confusing Fall River apparently with New Bedford. City, approximately 15 miles away.
Duly noted.
Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks to Devin, and thanks to Bob as well, of course, for his remarks. But especially thanks for the invitation to join you all here for this 30th anniversary of the Scoville Peace Fellowships, which have I will reinforce, fabulous reputation, well earned by many of the people here in this room, both selectors and especially selectees. As Deb mentioned, I guess I'm a week away from my 0th anniversary with NTI, and I'll be taking the role of Sam Nunn has, Senator Nunn has at the moment, and for 16 years as a co-chairman and CEO of NTI. But I do want to say that a condition of my doing it was that Sam stays. He may shed some executive responsibilities, but Sam will be still engaged heavily, remain co-chair of the board, and obviously bring his incredible experience and skill set to addressing some of the key issues that NTI addresses, but that NTI addresses in collaboration with others. And I want to say right now, the Scoville Fellows and with others in this room, we look forward very much to working together on what, unfortunately, is a set of problems that may have been predicted to go away, but will be with us for some time. There are many others from NTI here. John Walton, President, COO, for example. Some of you may know Charlie Curtis. Probably quite a few of you just want to say Charlie's coming out of retirement. He's going to be back in the harness as well at NTI. So I think we're going to take a fresh look at some of the issues to deal with. And again, as I say, I think that there will be many opportunities for collaboration. It's certainly something that I want to do. Now, I do want to emphasize my, of course, special pleasure to be here with the fellows and really having Pete Scoville's vision and commitment to help young people develop first the interest and then the expertise and the leadership skills to really be important contributors to advance global peace and security was really terrific. Bob already mentioned 171 fellows over the years that have really earned the reputation as tremendously bright young people generating creative ideas to build a safer world and a more peaceful future. They've gone on to contribute in many ways. Peacekeepers, human rights advocates, foreign service officers, cyber experts, non-proliferation, counterterrorism experts, journalists, was mentioned by Bob, journalists, I think, at the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, lawyers, and a professor of religion. And certainly, the last of those enterprises reminds us that prayer is certainly called on today as we look at the various challenges that we face. North Korea, the frayed relationship with Russia and the West is one that we just have to address in the context of the issues that we deal with, even as other issues are hopefully resolved. The constant tension between India and Pakistan and the potential for bad results there. Terrorist attacks around the world, as we've seen, obviously, as recently as Monday in Manchester. Certainly there, I just want to emphasize something I'm sure that we all share as a perspective that in terms of these terrorist attacks in particular, that the future does not belong to those who destroy things, but those who build them. I think ultimately that's what this community is about. It's really building step by step, and it is step by step, a future that will really enhance security through peace. And I think Pete Scoville understood that to address these issues, he knows that building is what's called for, and building is, again, to touch upon something that Bob said, it's really a multi-generational task that calls for constant people with the fresh perspectives of young people. Certainly, again, at NTI, I look forward to continuing my own work in this area, but I look forward to doing it in ways to work with all of you to really take the essential steps without which we cannot make sufficient progress, in my view, and that is getting young people in the United States, young people around the world, particularly in certain areas, and those young people getting to know and talk with each other to resolve the challenges that we are talking about. In terms of my own background, it was mentioned that I was perhaps the right person at the right place at the right time in negotiating alongside Secretary Kerry and then implementing the Iran deal. I just make a few comments on that, hopefully with some perspective that may be useful to, especially some of the young people, the fellows, etc. So, the intense negotiating period from February to July 2015 in particular obviously captured a lot of attention, especially as magic dates loomed, like the date for the framework agreement, April 1st, the date for the final agreement, July 1st, the target date. We of course had overtime, but got there in July. But I think one of the lessons that really could not have been stronger for me, at least, and I think is worth relaying, is that this kind of work is not over when the ink dries, and the things like the media attention fell off pretty fast after the ink dried, with occasional little bursts of they reported compliance again to the Congress, and it goes away. But the reality is, these efforts are just constant efforts. I think one has to have that perspective. This is not about a milestone, signing something, but just to keep that. Certainly, in this case, the Iran case, the 6 months following the agreement on July 14th, 2015, was an incredibly hectic up until January 16th, 2016, of Iran really scrambling to comply with the very, very onerous requirements of the nuclear rollback in Iran. And the thing that I want to emphasize here is not to go through what they did and didn't do, et cetera, and when, but rather one of the many untold stories of that, for example, of that 6-month period, is extraordinary behind-the-scenes cooperation of the United States and Russia in particular to take the steps that allowed Iran then to meet its requirements. And those steps could be taken in a period of extraordinary tension between the United States and Russia, Ukraine, obviously. During that 6-month period is when Russia started bombing in Syria. This was not an easy time. But the lesson really is that consistent work over a long time, building relationships of trust, come back in ways you can never anticipate. And this was in fact, one of those without going into great detail. So I just want to say that in good times and bad, especially the fellows as you were at the beginning of your careers, working in this area. When you're out there talking, it may be fellow Americans and it will be others from around the world. Always remember, building relationships of trust is absolutely critical for outcomes that you can never anticipate. And so I think that's just another thing that we want to emphasize from that particular set of efforts. Since January 2016, of course, the good news is that there has been compliance all around with the agreement. And I want to emphasize what you see in the newspapers actually emphasizes the wrong thing. Iran, in particular, let's say, has to comply with the nuclear requirements. Number of centrifuges, tons of heavy water, you go on and on and on. But what really should be emphasized is the compliance on the extraordinary verification measures that are really the key part of the agreement and will be beyond 15 years of the constraints. So, now, having said all that, I would say that, if we continue with compliance in terms of nuclear dimensions, in terms of verification measures, that's a great story, and that's a good outcome in terms of the existential threat of a potential nuclear weapons program. But clearly, I'll speak for myself, but I think I speak for many others. Clearly, we still hope that not on a one-year time scale, but on a decadal time scale, or maybe a couple of decadal time scales, that hopefully this agreement will be one component of fundamentally changing the relationship of Iran with its nearest neighbors, its next-tier neighbors, and the United States and others. And I have to acknowledge that, having been so deeply engaged in it, that a great pleasure in a scene now repeated twice. Once when the deal was done in July of 2015, and once last week following the Iranian presidential election. And that is huge numbers of young people out in the streets of Tehran looking really happy. They are the same generation as many of the people in this room, certainly the fellows. They are on the Iran side the hope, just as you are the hope on this side. And those relationships, any chance of building those relationships, again, will pay rewards enormously. Because that's the kind of fundamental change that we need, and that young people, there, here, and elsewhere, are going to have to drive as a key of transformation. So again, we are hopefully not putting a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of the fellows to take advantage of the opportunities that we have. And I think the scope of Peace Fellowship we should all recognize is it's not a gift to the fellows, it's a gift to the entire community of international peace builders. And certainly NTI, I know from my discussions, has benefited enormously, and certainly very grateful for the fellows who have worked with us. And I look forward to welcoming more, certainly during my tenure at NTI. Now, the Iran negotiation, I'm just going to conclude and say the Iran negotiation has been described, and I think it's correct, as a special case, perhaps, of the intersection of science and diplomacy. I want to note that Pete Scoville was a PhD in physical chemistry. Now, that's not as good as physics, but it's not bad. So I just want to say that, the business that we are all into clearly involves many, many disciplines that have to be brought together. But I do want to emphasize we need to do more, and I will continue to try to do more, to bring more scientists into this academia, working with other disciplines, but I think adding, in many cases, very, very important and special perspectives. And I'm going to throw out a challenge that the Scoville Fellows, I think, have to pick up this challenge a little bit as well, in terms of looking how physical scientists, life scientists could be stronger participants in this business, because I think, again, it will pay huge dividends in the future. So again, congratulations to the Scoville Peace Fellowship for its 30 years. Congratulations to the fellows for their recognition, but even more importantly, for the opportunity that they now have to help shape our world.